Moving out on my own was one of the proudest moments of my life. A small apartment on the second floor, tucked inside a quiet complex on the edge of town, felt like a peaceful retreat from the chaos of everything else. For the first time in years, I had control. I made dinner when I wanted. I could read until 3 a.m. without anyone commenting. I even had a tiny balcony that faced the courtyard, shaded by a single sycamore tree whose leaves danced in the evening breeze. Life was still. Life was soft. My neighbor at the time was a kind older woman who kept to herself. We exchanged brief greetings at the mailbox, but mostly we respected each other's space. There was an unspoken rule we both understood. The partially shared balcony, divided by a low 2-foot gap, was a boundary neither of us would ever cross. And she never did. That silent promise created a sense of safety I had grown to rely on, but nothing lasts. The day she moved out, I was disappointed but not concerned. That changed when the new tenant arrived. I was returning from work, exhausted and sweaty, when I saw him for the first time. He was unloading groceries from an oversized truck with a girl, his girlfriend, I assumed. They had a Costco haul, flats of bottled water, boxes of frozen meals, paper towels by the dozen. As I parked my car in my usual spot, I noticed how they suddenly grew quiet. Too quiet. The girl didn't even glance up. By the time I stepped out of my car, Sam was already jogging toward the building, holding the door. "New neighbor?" he asked with a wide grin. I gave a polite nod. He followed me into the elevator, despite the girl still organizing boxes. "What's your name?" he asked. "Do you live alone? What do you do for work?" His questions came fast, too fast, and I found myself shrinking in the corner of the elevator, trying to give vague, one-word answers. Something about his tone was too eager, like he was looking for something in every response. "I'm Sam," he finally said, extending a hand I didn't take. "We should hang out. You know, neighbors." When the doors opened, I slipped out, with a forced smile, and shut my door as quickly as I could. I didn't sleep well that night. Over the next couple of weeks, Sam kept showing up. At first, it was innocent enough. He'd be outside by the mailboxes or waiting by the elevator, always smiling, always calling me miss. His girlfriend, on the other hand, seemed to have disappeared. I never saw her again after the move-in. One night, my boyfriend came over. We made popcorn and settled in for a movie night, a rare moment of normalcy. Halfway through, we heard screaming. Not just raised voices, but violent, raw yelling. A man's rage, a woman's sobs. Then came the sound of something slamming over and over. We paused the movie and stared at each other. He went onto the balcony and leaned toward the gap. "Hey, is everything okay over there?" Silence. Then a soft, breathy, "Sorry. It's fine, sorry." A woman. Her voice was trembling. I wanted to call someone, but we didn't even know her name. We went back inside, and I told myself to forget it. I didn't know it then, but that choice, to let it go, would haunt me for a long time. A couple of weeks passed. I avoided Sam, and he seemed to back off a little. Until one Saturday afternoon. I was out on my balcony with a book and an iced coffee when I heard a scraping sound. Before I could react, Sam's head popped over the balcony divider. And then, he stepped fully into my space. "Hey," he said casually, like he belonged there. "You got any weed?" I was frozen. He looked down at my book, not waiting for an answer. Then, like it was nothing, he said, "Also, I hit your car the other night, was drunk, I'll give you cash, no need for insurance, right?" I didn't even know what to respond. He pulled a pen out of his back pocket and asked for my number. "When?" I refused, he smiled again. "No worries, I'll just leave it on your door later." He climbed back over like it was nothing. I didn't sleep that night, or the next. I started keeping a knife on my nightstand. That Wednesday, I was brushing my teeth before bed when I heard banging on my front door. "Open up." "Police!" My heart dropped. I opened it slowly to find 6 officers, guns drawn. "Ma'am," one said, "we need access to your balcony." They explained that Sam had brutally beaten his girlfriend. She had locked herself in the bathroom. He was now barricaded inside his unit, armed, screaming, refusing to come out. They needed to enter through my balcony. I let them pass. I locked myself in the bathroom and cried. For hours. When they finally left, they had Sam in handcuffs. He didn't even look at me, but it wasn't over. Days later, I heard footsteps running behind me as I entered the elevator. It was Sam. "Why'd you let them in?" he snapped. I backed up. He blocked the elevator door with his arm. You know I'm not that guy. I need you to testify. Just say I'm a good guy. I'll give you $3,000, please." I said nothing. He stared at me, waiting. I stepped out and ran for the stairs. That night, I found a yellow sticky note taped to my balcony door. "I'm counting on you." I left the apartment and stayed at my mother's house for a week. In college, I moved into a house with a friend named Jess. Our next-door neighbor seemed normal, until he wasn't. At first, it was small things. Standing outside too long, asking for hugs, smiling too wide. Then the questions turned sexual. His gaze lingered too long. He waited by the porch for hours. One day, I found him trying to open our front door. I told Jess. She was pale. She had stories too. Her boyfriend came over the next day and confronted him. He backed off, moved out 2 weeks later. I never walked alone after that. When I was 15, we moved into a new apartment. Our dog had separation anxiety and barked constantly. Tony, our neighbor, knocked one day asking to talk to my dad. He seemed tense, polite, but strange. Then things escalated. He began carving holes into our door with a knife, banging at all hours. One day, I caught him hiding under the stairs with a baseball bat. My dad confronted him. He cried, said he was on drugs. We filed a report. Later, his wife left him after finding him staring at their daughter while the stove was on. She filed a restraining order. I still think about that knife. In high school, a new neighbor moved into the trailer beside ours. He seemed nice. My stepdad didn't like him and built a fence between our homes. I didn't understand why until the comments started. He complimented my legs. Waited outside when I got home. Left a handmade gift on my porch claiming he just guessed what I liked. He made me dread going outside. Years later, my mum told me she'd started dating him. I begged her to remember what he'd done. She said I was overreacting. He tried to squat in her trailer after the breakup. She had to call the police to remove him. I never forgave her for not believing me. I've moved more than 6 times since then. Every time I tour a new apartment, I check the balcony walls. I look at the mailboxes. I scan the parking lot. I still carry a knife in my nightstand. I still sleep with a chair under the doorknob when I'm alone. To all the creepy neighbors out there, I sincerely hope I never see you again, because walls aren't always enough, and sometimes danger lives just a few feet away.